don't know.
You can't tell what they're like.
You've got to live with them.
Watch how they move.
See how they breathe.
Think.
Smell. Hit.
The night the play opened in Belfast, a young policeman had just been shot. That must have contributed more than usually to first night nerves, didn't it?
It did, yes. It was, in any case, a rather, what should I say, a traumatic occasion. The play itself was obviously controversial. People had come expecting some excitement, didn't quite know what it was going to be. Then we had this particular incident, which was a rather sad one after a period of comparative peace, and left one just slightly unhappy as to what the reactions might be.
This is a play inevitably about bigotry and about violence. How did the bigots and how did the cousins of violence react to it when they came to see it?
Well, I would say that a good many of them turned up. And they very obviously enjoyed it because they played to a capacity plus for such a long period. So they must have got something out of it. Perhaps they were laughing at the other side.
Did Protestants and Catholics laugh in different places, for instance?
Yes, they did, which was quite interesting. If you sat in an audience at night, you knew where the various people came from, the various areas.
You both play these bullet-headed bigots, and in real life you do come from different sides of the sectarian fence. Was it difficult at first to portray the bigotry of your own community?
I will answer that, if I may, as an actress. Not difficult at all. I would even play the other side with the same kind of joy. That is, as an actress. As a person, I suppose deep down we've got roots which may vary slightly.
You must both have known personally the victims of violence, people whose lives have been ruined by violence and murder. Is it difficult, is it awkward to make comedy of something as personal as that, something that you know about so well?
No, well, I mean, the way I feel and the way I think a lot of us feel that we have had to lighten the burden with this kind of thing. Otherwise, you would go mad.
I think it's perhaps the best way to get the sharpest and most agonizing parts of the trauma through which we live in Northern Ireland across to the public, is to do it with song, cynicism, satirize all the most awful things. And I think most people then accept, when they've seen it to its end, just how dreadful things are. On a personal level, when one has endured the tragedies of it, they are so private and so very deep that I don't think it does any harm at all to them, those feelings of yours, of mine, shall I say.
But how did you feel when you first saw the play?
When I first saw the play, I was horrified, really horrified, and I thought it was sick. I thought it was... Sick is about the only word I think describes how I feel.
In a sense, its nearest relation as a production is Oh, What a Lovely War. But that was about an event which had been 50 years before, the First World War. You're dealing with something much more sensitive. You're picking today's scabs and probing today's wounds, aren't you?
Well, I think that should be the function of a living theatre, to examine a very ugly situation, and perhaps in the way we did it, as amusingly and with as much sensitivity as possible. But we hope it should contribute some thinking to the problem.
But the play is dramatic gelignite. If a Protestant family, and heaven knows practically every Protestant family must know somebody who's been blown up, if they come to the theatre and watch a joke routine about two bombers assembling a bomb on stage, which is one of the things in your play, that's a very tricky area to tread on, isn't it?
I would think so, yes. But on the other hand, we live with the bombers, and there are some very amusing asides to their activities, as you can see. Newspapers have variously described the show as sort of insulting people on all sides, this crowd, that crowd, and the other crowd. And they sort of think that the most remarkable thing about it is that we're still alive to tell the tale. Now, I wouldn't care to sort of bat on that forever, but nevertheless, it's very nice to think that at least we got saying it. It's rather important.
Have you had threats?
We had a few.
You coped with them?
Yes.
In England, how do you feel the reaction is going to be? How do you think they'll react, for instance, to the portrayal of British soldiers?
Well, I think British soldiers have been very kindly portrayed in the play. Little soldier Evans, Williams, come across as two three-dimensional human beings, and I think that's very important.
Fairly thick and bewildered human being.
They are, but then there are an awful thick and bewildered people in the world. I think it should be quite enlightening from the point of view of people in England. I think they think of us as being a dull, dour, hard-hitting people, simply stand at street corners and shoot each other. Northern Ireland people are none of these things, really. They do shoot each other all right, but I still, at the back of it all, there's a great deal of humanity, joy, hope, sorrow, understanding. I think we've demonstrated all that.
Sit on the television, you just think, oh, Northern Ireland again, you sort of switch off, you think about soldiers and fighting. I've never really thought about the people before and their sort of individual lives.
I think it brings it home to you a lot more. As far as I was concerned, it was just something you read in the papers, but this seems to bring it right into your own actual life, virtually.
Do you think the way they've approached it, which is largely through comedy, through humour, is the right way to approach something as tragic as this? And it's tragic there, and it's also tragic this side of the water as well.
I think so, because you 1 minute you're laughing, the next it hits you, and you suddenly realise what's happening over there.
I think Ulster's very sad. What's happening in Ulster's very sad, but the way the play approaches it with the cynicism as it does, I think, is upsetting.
I felt that I'd been to a demonstration when I came out. You know, I just wanted to run down the road. I just wanted to keep talking about it. And I think most important of all, I didn't actually feel guilty. I didn't feel guilty that I'd enjoyed the whole experience.
Do you think the play can make any contribution, however small, to softening attitudes and bringing that hope closer?
It has done so already, fortunately. It has done so.
How?
Hard-headed, hard-hearted, bigoted people, we both know, as a matter of fact, have been able to say afterwards, wasn't it so enlightening? Do I have to say more than that?
The hope comes from the people. I think the people are indestructible. They're joyous, they're funny, they're sad. I think we've demonstrated all that in the production. Inevitably, the people will win through when the politicians let them alone.